What's going on, everyone? For those that may be out there, I am Richard. You might know me as House of Jazz. Welcome to episode 7 of Any Questions? I see people are starting to come in. I appreciate y'all joining me. Again, my name is Richard, and welcome to the stream. This is my midweek live stream, Any Questions, and I simply do this to give people a chance to ask questions that you may have concerning the piano, maybe music theory. I am not the know-all of either piano or music theory, but there are some things that I do know, and there are some things that I do understand, and if I can help in any way, shape, or form, this is a chance for you to get live help right now. If you have a question, feel free to post it over there in the comment section, in the comments, in the chat, I should say, in the live chat. If you would prefer to join me live right here on video, obviously while this stream is live, because if you're looking at this after it's live, you can't join me live. But if you would like to, there is a link, and let me just post it one more time just to make sure, because I posted it before I went live, so let me just make sure you can see it. If you would like to join me right here on screen, feel free to do so, and you can ask your question, and this way we can talk back and forth. Sometimes it's easier to do that. If no questions come up immediately, I do have something that I kind of want to pick up on what I started last week, which is building chords. And last week we kind of just looked at the beginning chords in C. I want to kind of just finish today, like just showing more chords that can be built based off of the C major scale. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just simply waiting to see what's going on, Marcus White. Marcus Witz. I'm just sitting here waiting to see if any questions come in. If no questions come in, I will go ahead on and do a quick lesson on chords in C major based off the scale. And there you have it. So if you wanted to say hello right now, now's a good time to say hello. So again, hello, Marcus. If you don't say anything, I don't know that you're here. So, feel free to say something in the chat. But I don't see any questions coming in yet, so I don't want to waste too much time, for those of you who are here. Like, yeah, we just, we see you supposed to be talking about building chords in C, so no questions, we're just here. But again, the name of this stream is called Any Questions. So your question does not have to be based on C major and chords in the key of C. It can be just based on just music, and if I can answer it, I will. If I can't answer it, I'll let you know. What's going on, EO? I see you over there. Again, if you any questions, just let me know. Ask now. Okay. Again, I don't see anything coming in, so I don't want to just sit here and twiddling my thumbs. I can go ahead on and start the lesson. So last week, we looked at the key of C major. We looked at the scale, I should say, of C major. And let me make this a little bit larger and make my head smaller. Ready? And whoop. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead on and start this lesson and see. Again, if you have any questions after I'm finished this quick lesson in C major, then I'll answer your question, okay? So I'll go ahead on and finish this lesson up. But last week we looked at the C major scale, which I believe most people already know what the C major scale is already. But just in case you don't know, It's all you have to do is start with C. You know, commonly people would just kind of start with middle C, but in theory, you can start on any C. You can start on the C down here if you want, but we'll just keep it simple. So your C major scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then you back on C again. Of course, C will be 1. What's going on, Sir Mitch?
Hey, how y'all doing? How
What's
you
going
doing?
on? What's up? What's up, man? Yeah, so yeah, with the C major scale, you also want to look at each note in the scale as a number. So it doesn't matter which scale you're doing, doesn't matter which key you're in. If you're in the key of B flat, then B flat will be your 1. Okay, so it all depends on which major scale you're playing, which note is 1. In the case of C major, the letter C is 1. But if you're doing the key of F major, F will be 1. If you're doing the key of D, D will be 1, and so forth. So again, okay, so we're in the key of C. So C is 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, because we're going to be building chords that go beyond major 7, I want to kind of touch this for a second. Okay, so if B is 7, even though we don't really call C 8, let's call it 8 just for right this second so that I can make my point. So if we want to call the C octave 8, then that means we can call that D on top 9. That would be 9. And then E, we don't really call E 10, but just for the sake of, just for the sake of right this second, okay? We'll say that's 10. And then we'll say that F would be 11. We do not call 12ths in chords, but just for the sake of this,
Right.
G is 12, and then your A will be 13. Okay, so let's just take a look. So look at it like this: 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me do that one more time. Again, so starting with the first C, that's going to be 1. E will be the 3. G will be the 5. B is 7. D is the 9th. F is the 11th. And A is the 13th note of the C major scale. We're doing this when you're building chords. How you doing over there, James Antoine? How you doing, sir? All right. So again, now that's important. So all you're basically doing is just skipping numbers. You counting. It's like you counting by 2s, but you start on 1 though. Instead of saying 2, 4, 6, 8, you're saying 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13th. If that makes sense in math. Okay.
Right.
So now we learned that last week that in the key of C, if you want to play, well, it doesn't matter what key you're in. If you want to play the major chord of any major scale, you play the 1, 3, and 5 of that scale together. So again, in the key of C, C is 1, E is the 3, G is the 5. So you play those 3 together, you have a C major chord. I believe the only thing I went over last week was the C minor chord in addition. So, but let me just stay on major for a second. Let's just stay on major for a second. So again, 1, 3, 5. That's your C major chord. Now, even though I don't want to like go into a bunch of different keys just so that you can understand the concept, let me just show you the F major scale. Even though I'm not going to stay in F, I just want to show you the concept of the 1, 3, 5 being the major chord. In the key of F, if you were to play your F major scale is F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Okay? So that means F would be 1, A would be 3, C is 5, right? You play your 1, 3, 5 together, F major, okay? So hopefully you're understanding the concept here that I'm trying to teach. Again, I'm not going to be teaching the chords in F major. I just wanted to just simply show you a formula. Basically just showing you a basic formula, okay? So we'll look at G major again just so that you can understand how the formula works. The key of G, if you were to play the scale of G major, G would be 1, B is the 3rd note of the scale, and D is the 5th note, because the G major scale is G, A, B, C, D. We can just stop right there because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 3, 5. You get it? So it doesn't matter which key you're in, which scale you're playing. Just remember that whatever is the 1st note, 3rd note, 5th note, okay? All right, now let's get back to the lesson at hand, which is the key of C, okay? So we're going to go back to the key of C. I just wanted to make sure you understand that concept, that philosophy, okay? All right, so now, so that's your C major chord, 1, 3, 5. So in the key of C, sometimes when you're looking at my tutorial videos, or if you purchase my chord sheet, I might not say play a C chord. My sheet, or me personally, may tell you to play a C major 7. Okay, now if you want to play a C major 7 chord, then you're going to need to play not just the 1, 3, 5, but you also will need to add the 7th note of the C major scale. Again, let's revisit that C major scale again. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then you're back at 1 again. So that means C is 1, E is 3, G is 5, B is 7. So when you add that 7th note, now your major chord has just become a C major 7. Let me see. I see another hello. Raglan. If I mispronounce your name, I apologize.
Reggiani.
Okay, Reggie.
Yeah.
Okay, Reggie. I apologize. I can barely see that. I'm sorry. Having eye issues right now, y'all. So again, so you got 1, 3, 5, 7. So that should C major 7, okay? And again, without me going through all of that stuff, like in the key of F major, if you play the 1, 3, 5, 7th note of the scale, you got your major 7. Same thing with the key of G, 1, 3, 5, 7. It doesn't matter which scale you're playing. 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay, that's going to always be your major 7 chord. Now, sometimes you may hear me say something like C major 9. So if I say C major 9, then all you're doing is you're going to add what? You're going to add the 9th note as well. So you already know the 1, 3, 5, 7. So add the 9th note, which would be D. Now, if you're just joining in and you didn't see what I was explaining earlier, I'm sorry. We was breaking down the numbers of the major scale, and we said, well, C is 1. And then E will be 3, G is 5, B is 7, D is the 9th note, F is the 11th note, A is the 13th note. Just think of it as counting by 2s, but starting on the number 1, if that makes sense. Like if you were in school right now and your teacher said count by 2s, you would say 2, 4, 6, 8, and you will always count by 2s. Well, keep that in mind, but just know that, but don't start on 2. Start with the number 1. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13 again. So if I was to say play a C major 9 chord, that would be playing the 1st note, the 3rd note, the 5th note, the 7th note, and the 9th note, okay? C major 9. Okay, and if I was to say play C major 11, I don't even think I need to break it down too much more. It's going to make sense with which note to add, right? Well, we already got the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, so obviously you're going to add what? The 11th note, right? So I know it sounds a little I like that sound personally. I'm just gonna say I like that sound. But anyway, so you got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and of course if you add the A, you have your 13. Okay, C major 13. Okay, so and then after that, you there's no 14th, 15th, and 16th chords and all that stuff. So, all right, so just looking at the key of C again, C major. I'm sorry, C major, major 7, major 9. Even though the screen says D minor 9, I don't know why it says that. I have no idea why it would say that, but just take my word for it. But that's the 11th, and then this is the 13th. Okay. Now let me explain something. Now sometimes those notes that we call 9, 11, and 13ths are also referred to as the second, the fourth, and it's at least let's look at the ones that are referred to as the ninth and the 11th. There are certain chords where instead of the D being known as the 11th note, they just say add 2, because D can also be looked at as the second note in the scale. I know it can get a little confusing, but if C is 1, remember D is 2, right? If you're playing a C major scale. So D is sometimes referred to as the second note, and then sometimes it's considered the 11th note. It's just depends on how you're building the chord. Let me explain. If I was to say play a C added 2 chord, you would play this. So you're playing the 1, the 3, and then the 5th note, right? So that's your major chord, but it says the added second. So when you see something that says C major added second, it means exactly what it says. Add the second note. That means just put the D in there. Add the second note. All right, and you'll have it. So now you got 1, 3, 5, and then there go your second note. So now you have a C major added 2 chord. Okay. Now, but of course, I know you just said, well, I thought when you add that second, when you add the D, it's really adding the ninth. Again, don't let it get too confusing for you. Just know that the second note is also referred to as the ninth note, because yes, if you have the 1, 3, 5, 7 note playing at the same time, and then you add a D, that's called a C major 9. Okay. Try not to get too confused. It's not that confusing. Just if you look at your keyboard and say, well, I can see where it's a 2, because if C is 1, D is 2. But if I keep counting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, okay, I see why they say, they're calling it the 9 too. You know what I'm saying? So just thought I'd throw that out. Now there's also chords that's you'll come across that are sus chords. Sometimes you'll see, if you're reading sheet music, or if you get my chord sheet, you'll see something that says play a C sus chord. Most of the time I like to call it sus 4, but sometimes I might forget to put the 4 there. Even if you don't see the 4, you can always assume that it's a C sus 4 chord. So let's talk about sus chords. Those are just suspended chords. So, all right. So to make a chord suspended, you have to go back to the basic chord first, right? So let's go. So if you see sheet music and you're just reading the chords on the top, or a chord sheet, and it says C sus 4, look at your C 1, 3, 5, right? All you have to do to suspend a chord is to take the third note, okay? So the third note of the scale, which is E, and you raise it a half step. Raise it a half step to the right. So that means taking this E and going up to F. When you take it to the F, that's called a sus chord or suspended. Because if you listen to it, it almost sounds like you're just kind of suspended. Like it's like you need some type of resolve. Listen to it. Yeah, if I was to do this, didn't it just sound like I just resolved something? Just think about it for a second. Listen to those two chords. Right? It's like, wow, okay, that's a nice chord, but I need a resolve. Okay, so that's a sus4 chord, okay? And that works in every single key as well. We looked at the F major chord earlier, so like if you had an F major chord, which is FAC, and you take the third note of the F major scale and you raise it a half step, that means you take the A to B flat. That becomes the F sus4. And then that sounds, like I said, it sounds like something is like unresolved. And then you can take it and drop it back down to resolve if you need to, okay? Same thing with the G major chord. If you take your G major chord, which is GBD, you take that third note of the scale, and if you raise it up a half step, that's a suspended 4 or a sus4 resolve. That works in every single key, okay? Every single major scale. So that's the sus4. Now sometimes you'll have a chord that says sus with the number 2 next to it, okay? sus2 and sus4 are two different things. Now to do a suspended 2 chord, you're going to need to it's basically, I guess, to make you understand it the best, let me explain it this way. You want to, instead of playing the third note of the scale, okay, 1 3 5, right? Okay, you got your 1 3 5. You want to play the 1, you want to play the 5, but instead of playing the third note of the scale, you want to just play the second note. So you want to play 1 2 5, okay? 1 2 5, okay? The first note, the second note, and the fifth note. And that's called a suspended second, or a suspended 2, I guess you can say. So the suspended 2 chord always, in my mind, reminds me of the C added 9, or whatever key you're in, but we'll just say C for right now. It reminds me of a C added 9, because it almost sounds the same. Because here's the C added 9 chord, which I explained earlier. Hey, what's going on, vegan? How you doing, sir? Like you got your C major, you got your C major adds the second, and if you just remove that third note, it almost sounds the same. Listen to the 2. The added 9 is just a fuller sound because you just have that extra note. But anyway, regardless of that, I just wanted to make sure that you know what a suspended 2 note chord is. A suspended 2 chord, sus2. So let's take a look at that. So you got C major, 1 3 5 of the C major scale. That's your C major chord. Okay, if you take that third note of the scale and you raise it up a half step, it's called suspended 4. Okay, now if you play the 1 2 and fifth note of the scale, that's called a suspended 2 chord, sus2. Okay, and if you play the 1 3, the 5, and you add the second note on top of the 1 3 5, that is called added 2. There are sometimes where you'll see add 9. It's the same thing, because remember, we already explained before that the note D is in the key of C. The second note, it doesn't matter which scale you're playing, the second note is also known as the 9th note of the scale. Again, in the key of C, C is 1. You can think of D as 2, but as you can also think of D as 9, because you got 1 3 5 7 9, right? D9, F will be 11, and A will be 13. All right, so keep that in mind. So again, C major, sus4, C major, sus2, C major, add 9, and just for the fun of it, C major 9, okay? So right there, that's a lot of chords just in C right there, okay? So those are some basic chords in C. I want you to, like I said, I don't want to sit here and just do a whole bunch of teaching. I just want to throw little things out at you every single week. However, last week I did touch on C minor, so I do want to expand on C minor for a second too, okay? So let's expand on the C minor chord. Now, last week I explained that if you want to take a major chord and make it minor, all you have to do is to simply take that third note of the scale and you lower it a half step. Now, today we learned that taking that third note and raising it a half step creates a sus4 chord, right? Well, if you take that third note and lower it a half step, that creates a minor chord, okay? So now you have C minor, okay? So C major, sus4, back to major. Now you got C minor, okay? And that works with the other scales too. Just for an example, here's F major. F major is F, A, C, right? That's the 1, 3, 5. If you take that third note of the scale, lower it a half step, you have F minor. It works in the key of G as well. G major, 1, 3, 5. Take the third note, lower it a half step. Now you have G minor, okay? I just wanted to show you the concept. I don't want to spend time in those other keys. So, okay, so now, and we learned this last week. I went over the C minor chord last week. Now, what I want to show you is that you can also, sometimes you'll see more than often C minor 7. Okay, so if you want to do not just a C minor chord, but you need to C minor 7, then what you need to do is to add the minor 7th note of the scale. Now, the minor 7th note of the scale, or the dominant 7, and I guess if you look at it that way, is just simply find the 7th note of the major scale first, okay? Find that first. So in the key of C, remember, B is the 7th note. Once you find it, that's the major 7th, okay? That's the major 7th. So C to B, as you can see on the screen right there, it says it's a C major 7th, right? Because that's the distance between the two notes. That's a major 7th, okay? Now, once you find that major 7th, you just want to take it and lower that 7th a half step the same way you did with the third note to make it minor, okay? So, and that's called a minor 7th, okay? So the distance between C to B flat, that's called a minor 7th. C to B, that's a major 7th. C to B flat, that's a minor 7th. Now go ahead on and add the rest of the C minor chord that you already know how to play. C, E flat, right? We learned that earlier. G, now add that minor 7th, and now you have C minor 7, okay? Minor 7, okay, so there we go. So C minor 7th, okay? So again, your minor 7th chord is just based off of, it's just basically taking your C major 7 chord. Again, we should know what the C major 7 chord, again, is just a 1, 3, 5, 7, right? And then if you look at your 3, look at your 7th note. Take both of those notes, the 3 and the 7, and lower both of them a half step. There you go. Okay, now you got your C minor 7. Again, that works in the key of F, in the key of G, in every other major scale. You got your F major chord, major 7, I should say. F major 7, if you take that third and you take that 7th and you lower it a half step, now you have F minor 7. Okay. Same thing with the key of G. You got your G 1, 3, 5, 7. If you take your third note, lower it a half step. If you take your seventh note, lower that a half step. G minor 7. It also works with every other scale. And eventually I want to look at every scale, but I just don't want to throw too much out at you at one time. So I'm going to wind down that lesson right there. Now, let me say this again. If you have other questions that you would like to ask, feel free to do so. You can ask your questions over in the live chat, or if you would like to join me on this screen, on this call right now, on the panel, I'm posting it again right now. You can use the link that I just posted in the live chat. Just keep in mind that, we don't do any cursing or whatever, but you don't even have to turn your video on. You can use just audio only. You can keep your camera off if you don't feel comfortable doing so. And this way, if you have a question and you might need to ask an additional question and we need to go back and forth, it actually would be easier if you just come on instead of just keep trying to type back and forth to one another. So I'm going to give you that option as I'm wrapping up this session with the C major chords for this week. So I'm getting ready to wrap that up. We're going to go over everything again, but if you would like to ask the question, you can just ask it right there in the chat, or you can come on. Okay, so just remember, if you come on, we're not on here cussing. And even if you're in the chat, we still don't want any cursing over there either, all right? So just thought I'd throw that out there. But okay, let's review what we looked at today. Again, today we looked at suspended 4 chords. We looked at suspended 2nd chords. We looked at major 7. We looked at minor 7 chords. Those are the ones that we kind of focused on. I know I looked at some of the other chords, but I'll just keep it to just those basic ones for right now. So again, and of course we looked at the C major chord again. So let's just look at all those chords that we've looked at so far. So again, the C major chord, and doesn't matter. And right now we're doing the key of C, but this works with every major scale. The 1, the 3, and the 5th note of your scale will always be your major chord, no matter which scale you're playing. So that's your C major. Now again, if you need to take this chord and make it a suspended 4 chord, all you have to do is take the 3rd note, the 3rd note of the scale. In this case, it's the key of E, and you just raise it a half step to the right. That is called a suspended 4 or sus 4. Okay, so you got sus 4, and if you, like I said, to me, my ear, actually, I can understand why they call it a suspended chord, because it almost leaves you in suspense, like, you feel suspended, and it's like, okay. And then if you play the C major chord again, it sounds like you just resolved. Okay, suspense, resolve. Okay, so then if you want to, if you're required to play a suspended 2nd chord, okay, a suspended or a sus2 chord, then you need to play the 1, the 2, and the 5 of the major scale. Okay, the 1st, 2nd, and 5th note. Those 3 notes gives you the sus2 chord. Okay, 1, 2, 5. Okay, sus2. So sus4, sus2. Now, if you play your C major chord, the 1, 3, 5, and then you decided that you want to add the 2 as well, that's called a C major added 2. Okay, sometimes that's referred to as an added 9th as opposed to major 9. I've seen it written on sheet music. I've seen sheet music that says add 9. I've seen sheet music that says add 2. It means the exact same thing. Remember, D in the key of C is known as the 2nd note, but it's also known as the 9th note of the scale. I explained that a few times already. So C major, sus4, sus2, back to major, add 9. Then we also looked at the C major 7 chord, which again is just playing the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7th note. Okay, 1, 3, 5, 7. C major 7. Okay, and then we talked about minor. Okay, so if you want to play, now let's take the 7th away. Let's just look at C major for a second. If you want to take C major and make that a minor chord, you just take the 3rd note of the scale. In this case, it's the key, it's E. Lower it a half step. Okay, C minor. Now, if you're required to play a C minor 7, then that means you just add the minor 7th note as well, which in this case is the B flat. How do you find the minor 7th? Well, first find the major 7. Major 7 is going to be the B, right? Right? Because 1, 3, 5, 7. That's called major 7th. And then take that major 7th and lower that a half step as well. Okay, so it's that simple. It's not hard at all. It's not hard. We'll stop right there. I think that's all I know I showed C major 9 earlier in the 11 and 13. We'll do 9, 11, 13s maybe next week. Okay, next week we'll look at the 9, 11, and 13 chords. Okay, the one other chord, because we did all that, it kind of makes sense to. No, I'm gonna stop right there because that's always me. Hey, what's going on, Juala? I always keep throwing more things out. We're going to stop right there, okay? So this week, we looked at sus 4 chords, sus 2, and then we did the major 7 and minor 7th chords, okay? And we also did the added chord, the added 2 chords, okay? So next week, we'll go ahead on and we'll continue. Next week, we'll look at dominant 7 chords, half diminished chords, and fully diminished chords. Half diminished chords are also known as flat 5 chords. Sometimes when I'm doing a tutorial, you'll hear me say play A minor 7 flat 5. You might hear me say something like that. So that's called half diminished. Okay, half diminished. And then you might hear me say, well, just play a diminished chord or whatever. Or in this case, we'll say C minor 7 flat 5 or something like that. You'll hear me say, oh yeah, play the flat 5 or something like that. So if that chord sounds familiar, Sir House of Jazz, yeah, that C minor 7 flat 5 is actually a part of my little intro. So that's what we'll look at next week. We'll look at half diminished, fully diminished, and dominant 7 and dominant 9 chords. Okay, so we'll look at the dominant chords. Okay, dominant chords. So dominant, diminished, half diminished, and fully diminished chords next week. So that will be it for that particular lesson. So if you are joining in just now and you wanted to see what my lesson was for building chords in the key of C, sorry for you. You missed it, but I got good news for you. You can rewind it, okay? So we're finished that lesson. So I want to reopen the floor again to questions. If you have any music theory / piano questions that you would like to ask me, feel free to do so now. If you would like to ask your question on video or on audio, because you might need to ask multiple questions and we might need to discuss some things back and forth, I just posted a link in the chat. You can use that link and that will bring you on. I do have 2 people that's hanging out with me right now. I'll introduce them in about 30 seconds, but you can click that link, you can come on, and you can ask your questions that way. Or maybe you just might want to hang out just for a second or 2. That's cool too. We've had people in the previous weeks just be like, I just wanted to come on and say thank you or whatever. So that's cool too. If you just wanted to do that, that's fine. Okay. But just remember, We don't do the cursing and all that stuff. So if you come on, please watch your mouth. Watch yourself. All right. All right. So let's see who. Oh, okay. Actually, it's this one. I had
Yeah.
two other people, but it looked like they said, "Hey, man, you taking too long to show me some shine." So we gone. So I know EO and D was on here for a second, but we have the world famous, internationally known, renowned, #1 on the Billboard music charts, Mr. Mitch Soul. What's going on, sir, Mitch?
Um, Everything's cool.
Yeah,
Can you
you
hear
look.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. You look a little hungry, or should I say, you sound hungry? You're like, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm just playing.
I know.
Yeah, if y'all have not heard yet, this young man has released another project. It came out on September 7th. His new music project. If you want to check it out, it's called In Your Presence. Okay, the artist name will be Mitch Soul without the underscore. So you see how his name is spelt right there. Just type it without the underscore or the little underline for those of you who are like, "What's the underscore? I don't know what that is." So just type it MITCHSOUL, and it's available on pretty much everywhere now. It took a minute to get there. I think it's pretty much if you Spotify, if you're Amazon. Apple Music, just wherever Tidal,
Yeah.
wherever you stream music, it's available. So make sure you support him, stream his music, put a couple of dollars in his pocket. The man worked hard on his project. So let's just support him. It's out there, as well as his previous projects as well. So this is not like his first project by a long shot. He's had other projects out too. So I have a membership with subscription with Spotify, and when I type in Mitch Soul, it's like multiple albums come up. But his current one, the new one, is called In Your Presence. So check that out. But then also check out some of his other stuff too. If you're not familiar, he is actually on. Mitch usually shows up I think he's been on like every Saturday for like the last year and a half or whatever. So
Yeah.
if you look at my live streams, you should be used to him by now. And I
Yeah.
think this is this young man's second time on here, the vegan. He refused to tell us the correct pronunciation of his last name, so
It's
we refused to call
Wuhita.
him by that.
Wuhita. Am I right?
Yeah, something like that. I know Kim has
Works for
said
me.
something the other day
Huh?
too.
It's the vegan Wuhita.
Works for me.
Yeah, it works for you, but the question is that the correct pronunciation? That's all I want to know. Just yes or no. Is it the correct pronunciation? Dang, everybody eating tonight. Is that what are you eating? French fries, man? Is that the correct pronunciation though?
Might be. Who knows?
He said it,
Man, I'm about to kick this dude off, man. I'm about to kick him off, man. Man, get out of here, man.
nah. But I'm
man.
sure. I'm sure I pronounced it right.
He's not going to tell you. It's a mystery. He's trying to be like Prince and be mysterious.
Wu is either Wuhita or Wujita.
But anyway, yeah. So the floor is open. Again, check out Mitch Music, and the floor is open if you have any questions. So feel free to ask your questions. Did you have a question, vegan?
No, I just kind of hopped in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he kind of hopped in.
Yeah, I just hopped in. So, for those of you, just letting y'all know that on Saturdays, we've been doing live streams on my channel on Saturdays for roughly 2 years now. So just to let you know, this Saturday, our theme is pop music. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want to submit a recreation of your favorite pop song, or if you want to perform it live, just literally come on here and perform it live, that will be Saturday. and that will start sometime between 9
Mm-hmm.
and 9:30 ish
Yeah.
Eastern Standard Time, PM,
Right.
9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to just create a track, um, we don't we don't want the original tracks, please. Okay,
No,
like
no, no, sir.
it needs to be a recreation. You need to have recreated, or even if you work with someone, maybe you work with a producer and y'all work together. Maybe the producer recreated and you decided to sing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine,
Right.
but we don't do the original music because that is very dangerous for any YouTuber to play that on their
Mm-hmm.
channel. We are usually we don't have any issues when it's recreations. They call it a what's the term when I get hit? They'll say, if oh yeah, your third party, if this is like a third party run. In other words, if it's just your cover, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? They consider it cover. If it's
Right.
just your cover, they
Yeah.
don't give strikes for that. So that's why we're
Yeah.
able to do that. I see a question came up.
Yes.
I'm gonna pop the question up, but yeah, just to let you know that yeah, if you want to, like I said, pop music now, a lot of people have their own definition of what
Mm-hmm.
pop music is.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into that war, okay? We're not
Right.
going to get into that war. So when we say pop music, whatever that means to you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that
Yeah.
means to you. Um, the music that we do, again, we want the music to be, um, you know, it's just not like Two Live Crew and
Clean.
WAP and stuff like that. And I still to this day have never even listened to a single note of that song, but I know what WAP stands for.
Yes, we
And
do.
just the fact that I know what it stands for, I plan on never listening to the song ever. You know, I'm just saying. So
Mm-hmm.
if you get what I'm trying to say, no Two Live Crew
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
Let's use some common sense.
Let's keep it clean.
This is a family show, so but yeah, but other than that, pop music, Whitney Houston stuff. That would be considered. Everybody called her like like I don't know if they ever said Queen of Pop. I don't know if they ever said that, but she's known as a pop artist or whatever. So again, whatever that means to you. All right, so not Shaka Khan, but Shaka McCaden.
McCadden. McCadden.
Cadden says an unrelated question. Hey, as long as it's music related, then it's related. What is the relationship between the two notes in the Beethoven's Fifth that begins Beethoven's Fifth? I've also said that if I don't know the answer to a question, I will let you know. And guess what? I have no idea because I've never played it before. I'm not familiar with that. So unfortunately, I cannot answer that question. Sorry. Like I said, I gave the warning before that I don't know it all. So, I'm not really into classical music when it comes to playing it on the piano. Classical, believe it or not, I am a classically trained vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
I've even performed operas when I was in high school over 20 years ago. So I classically trained, yes, but as a vocalist, not a piano player.
Mm-hmm.
Pianist, I should say. So,
Yeah.
so
Right.
I don't know. I don't do classical music. I barely can do. So, and you heard me just mess that up just now. So, yeah, I don't really do classical stuff, so I can't help you with that. But again, for Saturday, if you want to participate, my email address is houseofjazz@yahoo.com if you want to submit that track, that your MP3 track. And of course, you need to spell House of Jazz the way you see it right here. I'm going to try to figure out what is going on with this delay with my camera. I didn't used to have this delay. Like the last 2 weeks, I'm like, what the world is going on here? I don't know. It's like I wave my hand and then it's like late. I'm like, I gotta figure out what this delay is, where this coming from.
Glitch.
What's going on? I've been having this computer for 3 years. I ain't never had this before, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we can still get through the live stream, so we'll be fine. So, any other questions that I can possibly answer? Questions that I could possibly answer. Is there anything else you wanted to say about your project, Mitch, while we're waiting for any questions?
Well, all I know it's It's still on every platform.
Uh
In
huh.
about another week, it should be on Pandora.
Ooh, open up Pandora's box.
Yeah,
Ooh, okay, I'm just playing.
yeah,
Okay,
so,
that's what's up. That's what's up.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
So we don't have a I mean, we have about 10 people in here, but nobody really got any questions. So I don't know. This might be a short live unless y'all have something y'all want to talk about. If y'all have something y'all want to talk about, we can. If not, then okay. Y'all can't say I ain't give y'all the opportunity to ask y'all questions. You know what I'm saying? So, either I know the answer or I don't know the answer. So, okay, that was just a little piano interlude to give time for the next question to pop up, but but it looks like that didn't work. So,
No.
oh wow. So, yeah, I don't want to waste too much time. And like I said, unless y'all have like some type of music discussion that y'all want to discuss or anything. If
So
not,
so vegan. I notice you have the same headphones I do, the AKGs.
Yep.
Yeah, how long you had them for?
Probably about 2 or 3 years.
Oh wow, I think I got you beat.
yeah, Mitch had him for like 50 years, but anyway.
No, nah, he's just kidding. No, I had mine for almost 20 years.
See, I was close. I was only off by 30 years. See?
I had these since 2004.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
gotta learn.
amazing how that there are headphones out there that last a long time.
Yeah,
Like
and
these are actually new, but my original ones still work. It's just the cord got messed up
yeah,
on them, and
b-
so
but you know
so I bought a
something?
new cord, and they still work
Yeah,
fine. So now I have two of them that works perfectly.
yeah, yeah. Because I think I posted on Instagram too when I ordered the new pads for the ear and the new cord. Because I wasn't gonna throw these away. I was not gonna throw these away. These are my babies right here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just
You got to
now,
take
do
care of your
those
baby.
disconnect? Are those do those cables disconnect?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
in
So yeah, that's
disconnection
what I'm
right
saying.
here.
Right, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty of these these type of joints. You know what I'm saying? Because these the same way. Just this, it's just. It's like it usually that's what goes up in headphones. Usually what makes headphones not work is just a bad cable. So it was
Right.
such a smart idea to just say, well, let's just make headphones, and you just can just
Replace the
Yeah.
replace the
cable.
cable by
Replace the
just
cable.
a little twist, pull, pull up,
Yeah.
and you keep it moving. Like, oh, okay,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
life is good.
I still have I still have the original cable, but it died, and
Right? Yeah,
Ooh. Yeah.
and and it brought me joy that I could just buy a new one and keep moving.
Right.
exactly.
Exactly. Yes. You're right.
Yeah, because these things are investments, man. These headphones, you know what I'm
Yeah. Cause
saying? I
cause
got a deal because I got the $100 off my Amazon order because I signed up for that credit card thing, that Amazon
oh
credit. So I really got a deal. I was like, I feel good about getting these second
yeah.
pair now because I'm like,
And
man,
and the
I only
thing
paid like 40 something bucks
yeah.
when you
And
take the
Wow.
$100 off. I'm
yeah.
like, man,
Yeah.
they was like, oh yeah,
And
it costs 149, but $100 off. You only
yeah.
owe. I'm like, oh man, yeah, I'm getting me a second pair. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, give me a second pair. It's a
Or
once in a lifetime thing to get a brand new pair of my favorite headphones for only 49.99.
or
Like,
or
absolutely, give them to me.
or
Yes,
or some items you just pay for free. You just
right,
get it
right,
free.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But now I decided to do this. I said, yeah, I
Yeah.
would like to have a second pair.
Cause I cause,
Um,
'cause back then I paid $100 for these things. That's what they were.
yeah,
Yeah.
these are
But
the
I
first
think the
pair that
price
I ever
went down.
had of these were like they were like almost $200, but now you can get them for brand new for like 149. So
Yeah, the price dropped. Really.
yeah.
'Cause I think these dropped down to like probably $70 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
When I bought mine, they were about 69.99.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, if y'all can hold off on headphones, they'll come down eventually. Cause these I like these because they're good for mixing. They're studio monitors basically. These are designed to give you a flat sound for mixing. And
Oh,
I've been
yeah, I
wearing these
use
things. I've been
yeah.
mixing with these headphones for
Mm-hmm.
probably about 10 years, and now I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
used to the sound. I know if it
mm-hmm.
sounds a certain way in here, then I'm like, okay, I know it's going to sound pretty good
Yeah,
on most platforms. Of course, I have studio monitors in here too, so I always go back
yeah,
and forth. Check the headphone, then I check the monitors to check the mix
yeah. Because I
and
use
stuff
the
like that.
yeah, I use the I have another set of headphones. In fact, I got two of them. It's a Tascam, and I use that mostly for mixing and mastering. They sound
Juella is trying to start some mess, and see D is on here, so D loves to talk about this type of stuff. She was like, "Well, I don't know if y'all ever had that convo about church musicians and how much y'all get paid." She trying to start some mess up in her. That would be interesante. I guess interesting in Spanish. I guess
interesting.
I don't know how to
Yeah.
pronounce that, but yeah.
Oh, muy
Interesante.
very, very interesting.
Hold on. Okay, what do you recommend to improve speed? Practice. I mean, it's really no trick to it. If you want to improve speed, then you really need to just practice. It's like I mean, it doesn't have always have to be like classical or
Mm-hmm.
jazz. I mean, when I was learning how to play on bended knee, the
Mm-hmm.
intro to on bended knee, at first I had to play it like this. You know what I'm saying? Well, like when I was first
Yeah.
learning it, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm just saying, so even in pop music, R&B music,
Yeah.
in
Right.
order for me to be able to go from there to, I had to just,
Right.
it's the build up speed. You just got to
Mm-hmm.
practice whatever it is that you're trying to build up, whatever
Or
song that you're trying to learn, whatever it is. I mean, you can
is that?
always practice
Oh,
playing your scales too
yeah.
and practice playing
Or
them faster. That can help develop speed too, but
that.
there's
Yeah.
no shortcut
Right.
around practicing.
Or
It's like stuff like that you got to practice.
yeah. Or the person can actually use something what is called a metronome. You can use that too for speed as well.
Well, for speed and to be able to still stay on a beat though, because
Right.
sometimes yeah, metronome is really great to show you how well you actually know how to play at a steady tempo too. Because it's like sometimes you put a metronome on, some people be like, "Oh man, turn that off." That messes me up. It's like no, it doesn't mess you up. It just
No.
shows you that you
Yeah.
don't know how to play on
And how
beat.
to play on
That's
beat.
what it
Right.
does.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
It's not actually messing you up. It's letting you know, hey, dude, you don't know how to play on beat. Right. That day. It's like you have to be able to. It's a talent to be able to. It's
Yeah.
a skill, and it's something that all musicians need to be able to do is to play on beat. Because how can you play with a band? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Usually your drummer is your metronome, and when you're playing with a band, the
Mm-hmm.
drummer is the metronome in the sense that they're setting the tempo, and the
Right.
rest of the band usually falls into
Follow.
whatever that tempo that drummer sets. So that's why you gotta have a good drummer. If you have a
Right.
bad drummer,
Yes. Yes.
but if you got a drummer that, or at least a drummer that can put a click track in his ear, if he can have a click track in his headphones and he can stick with it, then
Mm-hmm.
everybody's good. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But if you got a drummer that don't know how to keep time,
Time. Man. Then you gotta. Then you gotta hire another drummer.
after y'all beat up the other one for messing up the gig, right, right, right,
Oh,
right.
I think I know where you go with this,
My
but I ain't gonna
boy.
say it.
Let me see.
Let me
Recommend.
see.
Let me see something. She said, oh, she was
She
just okay
scales
answering
book at
that. And then she
Amazon.
said, okay, oh, James on here. For Shaka, isn't Beethoven just playing the octaves of
G
G
G
G
G
G E
E
flat F
flat
F F
F F
D?
F D.
I'll let y'all talk about that because all I know is me don't know that B Beethoven song. So I don't know. So I'll leave that alone. But yeah, church musicians. I don't know where D is because usually D loves to talk about this stuff when he talks about church musicians and
Yeah, she's right below you.
Jewel talking about what we get paid. Let me see. I think we get paid, pennies. Yeah. Hey, we want y'all to be at 5 different rehearsals every week. We want you to teach the choir. We want you to direct the band. You have everything set. And when you come to church, we'll give you 5 cents.
Nah,
Okay,
but
we'll give you 10 cents. Okay, well, nah.
uh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think when I when my the band that I played with used to get paid, we usually get paid at the like close to the end of the year. We don't just get paid on just every
Er,
Sunday or something like that. So
er.
nah, seriously, it's like a
Hold on.
stipend.
Hold on. Er.
No, seriously, it was well, actually it was the idea of the music director, the church I go at. So
Mhm.
usually we get paid a stipend every year for the whole entire year. We usually get a stipend,
It sounds like
and
y'all just volunteering your time and then you just get a stipend. It doesn't sound like you were being hired. So I
right,
guess that's a different situation.
yeah, yes,
And I can understand that. Yeah,
hmm
if you're a member of a certain church or whatever, and it's just like, and they like, well, we just want to give you something at the end of the year. That's something totally different. I
right,
get that, but I think she was referring to those that are like, look,
like
we're hiring, we're trying, we want to
mhm,
have a musician, we want to have a band, and we're hiring you. It's a
okay,
different situation. Like, ain't
right.
nobody waiting to the end of the. Y'all try that with Ron and D and see what happens. You said what? No, okay, now. But for those of you that may be just joining, if you came looking for the information on building chords in the key of C, we've already had that lesson. Okay, we already had that lesson early on, so you can always check out the beginning of the stream. However, if you have a question that's music related, music theory, piano related, you can feel free to actually ask it now, even while we're having discussions, because this, the main reason for the live stream is to be able to answer those questions. So you can feel free to ask your questions, okay? And if you prefer to come on the panel to ask your question, here is the link. I'll post it again, so that you don't have to scroll up and look for it. There it is if you want to come on. So just thought I'd let you know that. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's a different situation with getting paid. But we had a discussion offlines. A lot of us, some of us that were on the Saturday live stream, and D was sharing, pretty much what she gets. Ron was talking about his church only paying half right now because of the pandemic and stuff
Right.
like that. But yeah, I found out that I'm underpaid. I'm like, oh dang, okay. Y'all getting how much? I'm like, oh, okay. But I guess I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, at the end of the day, a church can only pay what it can afford anyway. So
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's like what else can you do? You,
And then I'm sorry,
go
but
ahead.
then there was another church I visited, and they had two well known. Well, they had one well known musician, and the other one was a well known producer. And the producer
Just
who
say Kanye
produced
West, man. No,
no
sorry, it's fine.
produce
Go
no
ahead.
no
I'm just
produce
fine.
there was a producer named by the name of Loris Holland,
Okay.
Loris, Loris Holland.
Okay.
And yeah, because he produced for Denise Williams on her gospel albums, and in fact he produced the last one that she made, This Is My Story.
Okay.
And he produced for a lot of other people. He was an Emmy winner. for
Okay.
something. Yeah, because I guess he done a lot of scores for television shows and stuff like that and everything.
Okay.
And then there's a musician by the name of his last name is De Silva, but he's from Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from well, he lives in Rhode Island now, so and he's sometimes when he comes out to Sunday service and everything, but he's a well-known musician. He taught at Berkeley College in Boston.
Okay.
He's a professor over there, and it was a it was a pleasure just to meet these guys and everything,
Right.
because and the work that they've been doing, and especially musicianship and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was like amazing. And I mean, I played a little with these guys back
Well, look
then.
at you.
But
He had to throw that in there.
no, 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 no.
I
Just for
had
a
to.
little, just
You
a,
know what I'm saying.
it's just
Yeah.
for a little bit. But then, oh, his name is Jetro de Silva. That's his name.
Okay. What's up, Jet?
Yeah, Jethro de
What's
Silva.
up? What's up, Jet
So,
Throat?
and he played. I think there was a summer concert or one of those concerts, and he played for Whitney Houston. It was on it aired on Good Morning America at one point, and that was like
Oh,
years
okay.
ago. And yeah, he played there. Um in fact, if you look at a Keyscape video, he
Hmm.
played along with a bass player called Abraham Labriel.
Okay.
Yeah, Laboriel, that's his name. Abraham Laboriel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, so in other words, Mitch is just trying to let y'all know that he's a professional musician and that he played with professionals and that none of y'all can touch him. And don't none of y'all step to him because you know he be rolling with the big dogs. Arr, arr. Okay, just playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I guarantee you I guarantee you they probably got paid a whole lot of money
Mm,
at the church. I'm talking about at that church
sure.
gigs.
I'm sure they have it because they
Mm-hmm.
right they have their of course they have their other work, of course, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, big time producer.
Right.
But yeah, Loris. But he lives in Texas now. He moved out of New York and he's now living in Texas.
He was like, peace.
Yeah, yeah, live in
Yo,
Dallas, I think.
okay.
Yeah.
I got it. I do have a question while we're waiting. Again, if you are just joining us and you have a question, music question, feel free to ask. Feel free to ask. You can even join the panel. The link is in the chat, so you can join in if you want. Feel free to ask. But it's interesting. I just thought about it. I just said that this Saturday we're doing pop music. I just said that, right? And I said whatever that means to you. I'm just curious. What does that mean to you? Like Mitch, vegan, D, if you ever turn your microphone on. People in the chat, feel free to, chime in. Like what is your, what is everyone's personal definition? What do you consider to be pop music? Who are some of the artists that you would consider to be pop over the years? We're not talking about just current, because we do, pop music, just whatever, just doesn't matter what era, whether it's the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. But I'm just saying, we'll start with the vegan. We'll let him go first. Like, what is pop music to the vegan, whatever his last name is?
I think it depends because like I think about pop in two different ways. Like one, which would be like literally whatever's popular, which would that would include whatever was popular at during a time period. So I'd be like Stevie Wonder, even though a lot of his stuff was jazz and R&B, could still be considered pop. Or Queen, they were a rock band, but they're popular. That could be considered pop. But then there's also what the evolving semi genre that's pop that has certain simplistic aspects come that kind of evolves with time and will absorb different traits from other genres over time. So I think of those two different definitions that I give pop. So one is literally something that's popular regardless of what genre it actually would fit into technically, and
Mm-hmm.
then this specific slowly evolving genre that's that kind of simplifies aspects of other forms of music.
Right.
Right.
Ignore this young lady next to me. She don't know what she talking about. Just ignore. That's just my sis over there being herself. Okay.
Hey,
Oh snap! She turned the camera
she
on
sh-
for us.
she
What's up,
showed her
girl?
pretty face. She showed
What's
her
going
her
on?
face is so pretty. It's so pretty.
We can't hear you though, Kim. Can't hear you. Oh, you muted.
Your mic is muted.
Yeah, your microphone is muted.
Duh.
There
What
we
up?
go.
What up? What up?
What up? What up? What up? Coming on here with the jazz is old thing. How you be today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, we just got finished hearing. There she
Now
goes.
she
She had
take
to
her
make sure.
camera off.
She had to make sure she put that back on. She's like, okay, well, here's what I look like, and here's the sign I want y'all to see. That was I agree with what you said down there, vegan, about basically pop. Definitely is what literally what's popular. But explain what you said. The other thing was you was talking about simplicity and stuff like that.
It's
Which
like it's like an evolving genre of simplified music that takes aspects of other songs. So like if you think of 80s pop, like a lot of it a lot of it was, a lot of it is simplified. It takes a lot of aspect of, of rock, and then synths. 90s pop took a lot more of the a lot of hip hop elements, R&B elements were thrown in there and simplified. Modern pop has a lot of trap and hip hop influence that's simplified, and it just takes whatever it feels is the popular thing, and simplifies it down, reuses it, gets bored of that, and moves on to something else.
Right.
okay. All
Hmm.
right. Okay. Okay. All right. D still has. I'm assuming D is still not at her microphone right now. So we'll mess with Kim, and then we'll get Mitch's definition. Like, what would you consider a good definition, Kimberly, of pop music?
Popular music. So,
Okay. That's it.
yep. That's it. Popular.
Okay.
That's what it is. Popular music.
Okay. So and that's just whatever genre, right? Like 80s, like whatever was considered popular in the 80s,
Hmm.
whatever was considered popular in
That's
90s,
what pop
whatever.
means. Popular. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Popular music.
All right. What you got, Mitch? Right, Mitch?
Yeah. Right. I said, yes. Well, it's popular music that, and it, of course, originated during the mid 50s and everything. And then as it expanded throughout the decades, throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, right through. And you have different, of course, you have different forms of pop, not just pop in general, but you have different forms of it. Like, for instance, when the Jackson 5 done their music, you call it bubblegum pop.
Yeah,
And then
that's
you
true.
got, and then you got, then it involved the techno or dance music or all these kind of genres. And then, it's not only spread it in the UK or the United States, but it kind of spread it worldwide throughout
Hmm.
the regional areas that everybody picked up on it. So it's like every country is doing it. You have your K-pop, and that's come from South Korea.
That's
Yeah,
interesting, man. Go ahead, keep
yeah,
talking. Go ahead.
and then it just venue all over the world.
Yeah, I had never heard of K-pop until I got married. That was the first time I heard of that, man. I'm like, are you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah,
When I started hearing
and
that, I was like,
it's
it
like
was my ex-wife and her daughter. They were really into it, and they was like, "You never heard of that?" I was like, "What is
yeah,
that?" There was a Korean pop. I was like, "Oh,"
yeah, because like
I was like,
yes,
"Whoa,
so
okay,
it's like all of Asia like that type of music.
right."
Yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. Yeah, learning about that. But yeah, it's like everybody got their own style of pop. But yeah,
yeah,
that's all it really is at the end of the day. And yeah, usually it is simplified music. It's usually uh, it's like I guess any style of music, if it ever were to become the most popular style of music, you know what I'm saying? Could be pop, but usually stuff that becomes popular is usually stuff that's simple. You know what I'm saying? Like Beethoven music. You might not necessarily say it's pop, Handel Messiah, the Hallelujah chorus. You wouldn't say, hey, yeah, that's a pop song right there. Hallelujah.
Right. Right.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's, you know what I'm saying? But, maybe something as simple
Well,
as
back in that day, it could have been considered pop.
true,
It's
true.
popular music is actually includes a lot of different genres, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just what's hot for the day.
Right,
You know, what's
Right.
the biggest draw
Right.
for as far as public.
right.
But it
So it's not
includes a
really
lot of
limited to
different genres
genre.
because there's R&B that can be considered pop, soul
Mm-hmm.
that can be considered pop,
Yeah.
rock can be considered pop. You know, just a what's
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Popular,
hot.
literally.
Popular, literally.
And a lot of times it's the simple stuff because that's the radio company. I mean the record companies. That's what they think everyone likes. So
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah.
push that as like the how different groups they really like their songs that are more complicated, but then the
Yeah,
songs that hit are the simple songs. And
right.
that's because of the I mean, it's a mixture because of the record company, and I mean they push it more, and then the
Right.
audiences like that stuff too. But yeah,
That's true. Like if you're dealing with musicians or real songwriters, it's like the stuff that they really want, that they like, is not the stuff that usually becomes hot. It's always the simple stuff. You're right about
Right.
that.
Right.
right.
Definitely. And I guess a part of and the reason why I think the record companies push that is because unfortunately to the listening ear, the people, the consumers that's buying music,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to gravitate to stuff that's simple. Usually, if you, now at the same time, maybe if the radio played, different, if the radio would play, we'll just say for right now, more complicated music. We'll just say, just for the lack of a better term, if they did, if that was in heavy rotation, maybe that could become more of pop music. But it's like the record companies, the radio stations,
Uh,
they're all like, okay, yeah, we just need something simple, something with a good hook. You know what I'm saying? We just need that catchy hook, and you know
I
what I'm
also
saying, something simple, and so now the audience is like, it's like if you try to give your audience something and it's a whole lot of musicality in it or whatever, it's like all of a sudden it usually goes over their head. And they're like, okay, what's the next song? And then, once they hear something that's real simple, that's when the audience is like, oh yeah, 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 that's what I like. Yeah, yeah, that's what I like. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but I think it's definitely more that that's what's being peddled to people. Because I mean, like Nirvana, for example, that used to be what was hot, and their music isn't very simple. It's some pretty well thought out music, but then that was what was hot. That's what everybody was into at the time. Stevie Wonder, when he was in his prime, like, I don't know, obviously I don't think people notice, but his music is very complicated, and that was pop music.
yeah, absolutely.
Prince too. Like people think about Purple Rain as like this very simple pop album, but there's a lot of jazz techniques just scattered throughout that album that just goes unnoticed. Like these complicated songs get out there and get big very
Right.
easily. It's just right now. I mean, it seems to me, at least from what I've learned from listening to people who work in the music industry, it seems like a lot of what happens and what gets out to people is what people with money want to sell.
Yeah,
True
true.
Mm-hmm.
that.
True.
Right.
Hello,
Yeah.
everybody. I'm
Right.
sorry. I'm going
Oh,
on
Would
mute.
there
it
she
be?
go.
Would it?
There she
Hey
go.
D. Hey D.
But yeah, but even with Prince though, the a lot of his basic structure of his songs were pop. Like they were simple, but it's the arrangements
Yeah.
around it
Mm-hmm.
that was, like you were saying, is like, yeah, it's like like Purple Rain, like I never thought of it until I had to do a tutorial on it. Until I did a tutorial, I never thought about how simple the song Purple Rain is. I'm like, oh, this it?
Oh yeah,
But
Mhm.
I mean, but it's the stuff around it,
yeah.
it's the arrangement that brings it out. So it's like it's like it's simplicity, but then you take the simple stuff and then you put this nice arrangement around it and makes it sound bigger than what it really is. But it's like if you take all that stuff out, it's like, oh, Purple Rain is just
S- Oh, look, same with Just My Imagination by the Temptations.
Oh
goodness,
yeah.
two
Simple, simple,
chords.
simple, simple.
Simple.
Like yeah,
Uh-huh.
two chords, but then
Right.
they have the strings and
Right.
Yeah.
and everything surrounding it and makes it sound like it's yep, that's
But
it. That's
But you
pretty much
know,
the whole song until it goes to
you
Paul's
know
part.
what?
right. Yep.
But
Exactly. Verse the
Purple
chorus, the
Rain.
same thing.
You can easily go right into open
Hey,
the
AD,
floodgates.
cut your microphone up or something so we can hear you. You
You
know what I'm
can't hear me?
saying?
How
Or
about
speak.
this?
Can you
Is
give us a
that
little
better?
bit more? But we can hear you better. Can you give us a
Is
little
it
bit more?
is that better?
I guess that's cool. Is that good with y'all?
That's better.
Okay. All right, go ahead now. Now you can run your mouth. Go
How
ahead.
about this?
Ooh, that's even better. Ooh yeah.
Even when you do Purple Rain, you can go right into open the floodgates of heaven, or or awesome if you don't watch it.
Gates of
Uh,
hell. Well, you know what? There's a lot. I always say this. Like, all right, check these chords out. Right, I'm gonna play it first. Right, I'm gonna play these chords real quick. And I'm gonna sing. A Jackson 5 song, and then I'm gonna sing a gospel song. Hold up. Okay, hold up. Now, you take those first chords. So you got you and I must make a pact, right? We
Mm-hmm.
must bring salvation. Okay, then you got give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the whole. It's a lot of songs. Like it's funny how people be saying, well, "Hold up, wait a minute. This is gospel music." No, that's secular music, and it's like actually.
Right.
It's everything. It's like the same stuff is being used for everything.
Mhm.
Actually, yeah, that's like, and there's a lot of stuff that's out there. Like, oh, okay, wow. Were you gonna say
Yeah.
something, Mitch?
Oh no no no
Oh, okay.
no
Oh,
Right,
no, I
Mitch?
thought I had cut you. I was gonna say right. No, I wasn't even being funny. I thought I
no.
actually had cut you off. My bad. It looked like you was gonna say
Nah.
something.
No.
But yeah, what was you saying, D? But you said open the floodgates of heaven.
Yeah, because I was playing that, and when we went to Austin and opened the floodgates, and the next thing I know, I was playing Prince. I was like, oh shoot, wait a minute, y'all just go with the flow.
Mhm.
Right. Well, D is the type of person that goes to church and will play "I'll Take Good Care."
I was about to say y'all do the R&B shuffle anyway, so no worries.
When I heard her do what? If you think I'm going to take care, it was like what song did you tag that on? It was
It was a "You Are Holy."
yeah, you are holy. Oh, and she did all that. And then at the end, they broke into like Quincy Jones' Secret Garden. I was like, wait
Yeah,
a
it was like,
minute.
if you think
And
he's
this is on her
gonna
YouTube
take
channel too, y'all.
care of you, if you think he's got what you need, show you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on, Kasai? What's up, man? What's up, sir? See you over
What up,
there.
Kasai? What up?
Yeah, haven't talked to you in a minute, man. Hope everything all is well with you. Yeah. So what you think about that? Like, I mean, can music just be gospel music and music just be R&B? I think we kind of just proved how it's not. But what's your thoughts on that? No, this is gospel music, and I'm like,
I just go with the flow. I mean, sometimes my brain goes, I be like, it's in.
My mind is telling me no.
I mean, I think the reality is it's just all music. I mean, it's all art. So regardless of how you're going to use it, everything can just be taken and put into another context, and it changes everything. So
Mm.
right. Who is undefined? We're just curious. Is this a jewel move, or is this somebody else? Okay, I
What you
just
say?
wanted to make sure because I look. I had my mouse. I had my mouse over. I said just in case this is somebody coming on here trying to start something. I had my mouse where I was like, clink, I was ready. I was like, who is this? I had my guns drawn. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But go,
But I had black. Well, I had Black
No, no, no,
Thunder.
no.
but
No, no, wait a minute. What I got? No, this Silverado right here. That's what I got.
okay, hey, yeah, we're not gonna talk about that because we don't want the FBI knocking on your door. We're gonna keep that offline. Your friends that you keep with you. All
It's
this is all I'm gonna say.
is-
If y'all ever see D on the street, don't mess with her. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't mess with her. That's all I'm
if
gonna
she
say.
if
Now,
she
if
was
you
gonna
decide you want to mess with her, that's on you.
Right.
I
No,
want
just
you,
don't sneak up on me. Now. Just
Right,
don't
right.
sneak up
Because
on me.
you'll be laying in the hospital like, man, I should have listened to what's that dude name? I should have
What's that girl
listened to
name?
him.
What's that woman's name? Oh,
I'm just saying.
yeah, no. Imagine if she mentioned that right now, and she have a camera on and everything, and then when the feds bust down the door, they come right behind her, take away, and they just cut
I'm
her camera
blasting.
off,
Boom, boom,
and then they
boom.
just cut her camera off.
Yeah, but I've heard people. I've heard this discussion before. I know we kind of just jump into another topic, but it's kind of interesting with the gospel music and secular music, and I've always said it's the spirit behind it because when all is said and done, there are only 12 notes in music. You know what I'm saying? There are only 12 notes. You know what I'm saying? You have major chords, you got minor chords, and you can, diminish them. You can make them half the, and it's like these chords are used universally just in music in all kinds of ways, shapes, and forms. But yeah, I think you still got some people that will say, well, the hymns of the hymns, that's the true gospel music, the hymns and stuff. And I'm like, but some of the hymns are using the same chords that Kurt Franklin used, and the same chords that Bob Dylan might use, the same chords Prince used, uh, Rick James. It's like we're all,
Right,
we're
right,
all
right.
using the same chords, so it's like what's the difference between secular music? What makes us music? Oh, this is gospel and this is Christian music, and what makes it secular music? I always said it's just the spirit behind the person that's creating it, the composer. Like, what's the intent behind it? What's your thoughts on that? Not all y'all at the same time, though. Not all y'all. One person at a time.
I would say really that it's what what I would say is what God put in your heart to write or to compose or whatever, and is what God placed on your heart like I said, to write or to compose, because it's not you that's actually doing the writing, but it's God through you that's doing the writing. That's
Okay.
that's the way I would pretty much describe what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. What you got, D? Because I know, like I said, you will throw stuff in the middle of a church service in a second.
Well, I mean, it's basically what Mitch says. I mean, I have recre redone, I guess, redone a song. What is that song by Curtis Mayfield?
Superfly.
No.
I'm just kidding. Um,
What's that song?
People get on board.
No, 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 no. I mean, we actually do that, but we keep that. What is that song?
Only you can tell
Lord,
us.
I know it. I got
Don't worry by Curtis Mayfield.
No, clap your hands now. You don't have a chance.
That's it right there.
Praise the Lord. Yeah. Come on and clap your hands, clap your hands. Get on.
Okay.
Oh shoot. It's all right. It's all right. That's the name of it.
Okay.
And so I redone the lyrics to that, and it was just something God had put on my heart, and I was like, I'm not doing that because I'm like that's secular, that's secular. But it's like every time it was like everywhere I went, that song had came on, and it was like, no, I'm not gonna do it, not gonna do it. But in my heart, God was like, do it, redo it, do it, do it, do it. And when I actually sat down and done it, it was just like a flow. And then when I done it and it got presented, it just went. Everybody loved it. So it just
So you're talking about something like, okay, so you took a song. Okay, it's one thing to say, okay, it's hard to say this is secular, this is gospel music, whatever, but you're actually taking a song that was originally released as a secular song and just simply changing the lyrics.
yeah.
Right. Okay. So, what are your thoughts on doing that? Because that's slightly different. Because I think we already know that music is music. A major chord is a major chord. A minor chord is a minor chord. Major and minor chords are used in hymns and in, you know what I'm saying, secular. You know what I'm saying. So, well, what are your thoughts on that? Because I actually don't necessarily think that's the best thing to do, to take a song that is secular. Like I'm talking about like the song, a song that is already a secular song, and like, and just all of a sudden be like, I'm just going to change the words to it. Okay, so like what's your thoughts on that, Kasai? What's your thoughts on that, Kasai? He like, hey, I haven't been on here for a couple of weeks. I'm
Like,
just
can
going to
I
throw
get
you
in
in
the
the mix.
room? There.
I'm just going to throw you right in the mix, man.
Can I get in the room?
We just gonna throw you in the mix. He put me in the mix. Hey, he put me in the mix. MC Hammer, what's up?
Oh,
What's your
oh
thoughts on
no,
that, man?
no. My thoughts on it's oh man, this harkens to like an old I don't know. It, I don't know. It kind of rubs me the wrong way. Only because
Okay.
when you take all right, maybe I just want to make sure that I understand the subject matter. When
Okay.
the question is when you're taking uh
A secular song that's
right,
out. Like we're not talking about just what type of chords I've got. We're talking about a song
an
that is
actual song,
written. This is a secular song. It's out. It's a hit. And then you're just gonna, yeah, I'm just gonna change the words to I want to do you to saying I love you, God, or
whack,
something like that. I mean, I'm just saying something like we're just
whack,
going to change the words.
whack. Boo.
Oh, you
Boo.
gave it the Kimbu.
Boo.
That's the
Boo.
Kimbu right there. Kimbu.
Because it doesn't take any imagination. It doesn't take any heart. Like anybody can do that. Like 6-year-olds can do that. That there's no fun behind it. There's no originality. I mean nowadays it's kind of hard to become an original artist, so to speak, considering how long music and chords and have been used in so many different ways over the millennia. So, but
Hmm.
even with all that being said, I don't like it. When it's one thing. You take a song where like you're kind of partial to, and you want to zhuzh it up and do your own version. That's cool, but then when you try to not only release it as a kind of your own and then try to monetize on it, I have a problem with that.
Well, I wasn't necessarily talking about trying to monetize on it. I guess I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, you'll get sued for that anyway. But I'm just saying, if you try to do that, if people are on their P's and Q's, you're going to get sued for doing that. But we're just saying, um, it's just like, okay, well, AD, what did you change the Secret Garden? What did you, if you think, when you did You Are Holy and then went into the Secret Garden, how did you change the words?
It's just like if you think he's going to take care of you, if you think he'll see you through, show you right.
Okay, so the original song is, so if you think I'm gonna take care of you, if you think I like what to do, show you right. That's like the original one, and she just took that and said, well, let me say, if you think he's gonna take care of, you know what I'm saying? We're kind of talking like, so you're not trying to like
Yeah,
come
yeah, I
out
mean,
with the song.
No.
You're just going into the church and just saying, well, let me just.
Yeah, it's just like when I redone it's all right. It's all right to have a good time. You can go to church and have a good time, just
mhm.
like you can have a good time in the clubs or anything. Like you can go to church and have a good time. You can clap your hands. You dance. You go to church to have a good time. So you can have a good time.
You know who did a ver a s- Take Six did a version of Ambrosia's Biggest Part of Me,
Oh yeah,
and they did
I did a
that.
tutorial for that song. Yeah, I know you're talking about
Oh, they did a lot. They've done a lot.
sunrise.
Oh yeah,
You're the
oh yes, they
biggest
did.
part
Oh
of
man,
me. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
you know, they I guess it's a matter of taste. I mean, me personally, I'm not too big of a fan of it. I'm not knocking anybody who does, but
Do you have is the reason why you're against it a spiritual reason, or is it just you just don't think it's cool? Like, is it like, oh, I think there's something wrong spiritually with taking a secular song and trying to bring it into the church and just changing the lyrics? Like, how are you coming at it from a spiritual sense, or just saying, man, just do something different? Like, how are you coming at
like
this?
I can't speak from anybody else's perspective
Oh no,
because
yeah, we talking
everybody's
you. I'm
perspective.
talking. Yeah,
No,
this
no,
is
but
definitely
like
you.
me
Yeah,
personally, I
yeah.
couldn't do that only because there would be a disconnect. There
What you
would
mean
be
a disconnect?
a spiritual disconnect.
Okay, okay.
Whereas when uh, uh, speaking from a songwriter's point of view, where that there's a Mitch. I was listening earlier, and he hit something like right on the head, where he
Right,
said
Mitch.
that you're just to paraphrase that, really a when you're writing music, when you're arranging music, like sometimes it's like it just hits you, and you're just the very thing that it flows through, and that's the way I feel songwriting is for the most part. You might hear something and you might go, it might trigger something. It might trigger something familiar. It might trigger, something, deep down inside of you, whatever that feeling is, whether it be spiritual or otherwise. But from a songwriter's point of view, when I personally couldn't do that. I personally couldn't do that. It's, to me, it would be blurring the line between covering a song and, um, I don't want to use the word bite. I
Biting.
don't want to.
I haven't heard
That,
that in a long
I
time. Hey man, stop
really
No,
biting.
no
again.
biting allowed.
Okay,
It,
okay.
it, it, what I say shouldn't reflect upon other people's approach as far as to why they change the lyrics to a song. Um,
Yeah.
but me personally, I couldn't do it. No hate on you, D. No hate on you, D.
Hey yo, D, he's hating on you, yo.
Yeah, I believe he is.
He is
I
pooping
believe
all on you. He is
I believe
pooping.
he is.
He is poopy. Hey, Jewel, what's your thoughts on this, Jewel? I know you have some opinions. You have to.
It's complicated.
Oh, hold on, you gotta turn your mic up, darling. Come on, can't hear you.
Shimona.
Can you hear me now?
No,
Mm-mm.
it's,
Yeah,
you're
I was
still a
gonna
Can you hear me
little
say
now?
low.
it's so faint. It's not
What
even
about
funny.
now?
Okay, it's getting
Better.
better. Can
Better.
you give us a little
Better.
bit more?
Hmm. How about now?
Okay, we can hear
Yeah.
you. We can hear you.
It's complicated.
Can
It's
you go a little
complicated.
bit more? Give us a little bit more.
More volume or more?
Elaborate.
Okay. Um, see, like I get that there's the sacred and there's the profane. Like I understand. However, we know God can use everybody for the glory.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, does that translate to music? I don't know. But I think we should be able to praise God, not just in church, but like in the common. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Uh, I don't know. There's common grace, which is like God can use, non believers to put forth his plan. So, like, I don't know. And then there's the idea of, well, you pull people to God by including popular music. So, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's complicated.
But some people will argue, do you think God has to have secular music just to draw people to him? Some people would say, isn't the Holy Ghost powerful enough to do that without you having to bring the world, quote unquote,
God
into
doesn't have to
trying
have
to bring people
anybody.
to him?
He doesn't have to have anything. He could pull everybody to him by himself, but we know God works through everybody.
Well, yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
I
he,
think.
he, he doesn't, he gives us choice. We definitely have choice, free will, I guess, as you want to
Right.
call it. He's a gentleman. It's like he's not going to
Right.
force. Well, at least not now. I mean, everyone's going to eventually, you know,
I think on
call
See, I
him
on
Lord.
think
But for right now, right now, it's like you have the option or the freedom.
I think it's just like you know things change. As time change, the things that might work for us may not work for the new generation coming up.
yeah.
There's way of reaching people,
Mm-hmm.
and people have different ways of reaching people. Like
Yeah.
I might can reach somebody my age quicker than I can reach a young person
Mm-hmm.
that's
Right.
younger
Of
than I
course.
am.
Yeah. I mean, you're
Uh,
old, so yeah, I got you.
well,
Be quiet, Kim. I know she was fitting to say
To
something. I
say
know she was.
something.
I
you
know she
know,
was fitting to say something.
I have seen younger people that's these times has come to Christ with the gospel rap
Mm-hmm.
than I have seen that comes with like the stuff that we grew
The
up
hymn,
on. Yeah, the hymn stuff. Yeah.
Amazing
Certainly.
Yeah.
Grace.
So, it's whatever that's going to capture people to come to God. That's the
Mm-hmm.
main thing
Mhm.
is to
Let me.
get them to come to
Okay.
him.
Yeah.
I
Let me
think you
add
have to
to that.
practice discernment too.
Let me add a little to that because all what you're saying is true, but you have to be led by the Spirit
Of course. Yes, yes.
to do these things. To reach, you have to be led by the Spirit to reach out to people because um you're using it as a witness tool as well to lead someone to Christ. So I know there's people that witness to to convince a person what Christ has done for that person. So if you do it in if the Spirit of the Lord leads you to do it in music form, that will draw someone to Christ. It depends on the words that the Lord lay in your heart, as I said earlier, to lead.
Okay. Yeah, we got to be careful when we're trying to
Oh
bring
yeah.
people to Christ
Yeah.
that we don't bring them to Christ and they have a false sense of what Christ really is, and then
Yeah,
they wind up
yeah.
not even really being saved
Hmm.
because they have a
Right,
false sense of what he is. So
right.
Right.
and that can be caused by the tools that we might be using. So we have to be careful
Right.
of that. I'm thinking of when Kurt Franklin first came out. Jesus, and then when he would perform "Jesus Is the Reason" live, when he did it, it's this thing on BET. I think it was Teen Summit. If y'all remember the show Teen Summit, and
Yeah.
he was just like, and the song is hot. Jesus is. I love the song, but and then he was like, I love it when you call him your savior. And I'm sitting here like, okay,
Huh?
you just made me think of Biggie Smalls, and I'm like, okay, so now you literally just took me out of the praise and worship thing, and now I'm thinking of, I love it when you call me Big Papa. Wave your hands in the air if you some truth. And it's like sometimes when you do stuff like that, like when you take a secular song and try to throw it in there, it's like, are you okay? Yeah, you might have grabbed that person's ear, and you might have grabbed that person's attention, but it's like, but are you bringing them in the way they should be brought in through the spirit? Because it's like when he did that, I just remember just as a kid looking at it, and I'm just right because I love the song. I love it when you call him your savior. I'm like, wave your hands in the air if he's true. That's the next. I'm just saying, sometimes I think you have to be careful. You
Hmm.
really got to be careful when you're bringing in that secular, and when we say secular music, again, we're not talking about what type of chords you're using. We're talking about songs that have been established already, like
Right.
talking about like trying to bring in bump and grind,
Right.
and then just
Yeah.
changing the lyrics but keeping the melody. It's like, hold up, wait a minute, you still having, you're bringing a spirit of, to me it's like you're bringing the spirit of lust into the house of God, because bump
Yes.
and
It comes
grind is
across
all
as
about
disingenuous.
lusting, and it's all about sex. Okay, so I'm just saying, so like, so if you was to try to bring that into a service, it's like you might be bringing in spirits that you're inviting spirits that might not necessarily need to be there. So I mean, feel free to comment on that.
Oh no,
And
I get a sense of where you're coming from, Jazz. Where like I take it as whenever I go to certain parties and somebody tries to relate with me with the way they think they can relate to me on, and it's like, it's a matter of respecting our intelligence. It's like maybe we can appreciate the way you wanted the point that you wanted to bring across originally. Don't try to relate to me. You know, speak to me, converse with me, relate. No, no, don't try to relate to me with a preconceived notion of who you think I am. You know, when you use um, the Biggie Smalls, I guess,
Analogy.
uh,
Yeah.
analogy. That's where it took me to. Um, when you uh, when you do want to bring a point across, like I again, I guess if it's clever enough, if it's not overt enough, I guess some people can relate to that. Where it's like, oh, it's kind of clever, or I kind of get you, but I don't think you need to go through. If a person, like Mitch said, truly wants to be receptive, or is at a point in their life where they can be receptive to the message at that point, at that time,
Hmm.
then it'll just line up. And if it doesn't, then there'll be other opportunities down the line.
well, with
Okay.
Like Marcus said with Ray Charles, he took gospel and made it R&B. We taking R&B and making it, we just flipping
Yeah,
it around.
but I guess the
We
question is, but is that
we just
right?
taking back
Like, I
what we
mean,
did.
how do we feel God? Because ultimately, whether it's right or wrong is all based on how
It's
God sees it. Really, it's not how we. It's not even about our opinions. But I guess
it's
what we have to
Exactly.
use our
it's
knowledge to say, well, is God pleased with this? Because that's ultimately what's important. Is
it depends
God
on if he
pleased?
give it to you. If he give it to you and he speaks to your heart, and if he's given it to you to present it that way, then
Because then some people will argue, well, how do you know if it's really God giving it to you or it's some other
if
spirit
if
that's not God, and
if
you're confused. I guess there's so many things that could be thrown out.
if
I
you
think
met it
like you said before, it needs to be there's a balance.
right.
I don't think it's impossible to be done. God has given me secular songs to speak to me, um,
Hmm.
and tell me certain things about my life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
and
but you're
he's
not changing
he's
the words
he's
to them.
he's
It's the
given me
song
the
as it's
song so
written.
that I could go and look at the lyrics and see
Okay.
what it says, so
It's
as it relates to what's
the
going on with me.
thing. Yeah.
But I think it's a balance. I don't think you should be doing the most, or you know what I'm saying.
Hmm.
I think, like you said, you have to see if God is pleased with it.
And that's where you go to meditate and you go into prayer and
I gotta take this call, yo.
to with that and with that, Kim, like what you said, you look at the song because most of the secular songs, if you look at it, is gospel.
Mm.
Hmm.
If you look at
It's
it,
all, yeah, intertwined, blues and
yeah,
gospel, and
uh-huh.
it is. Yeah,
So it's just like this song got it right. We used to be like got it right. I know I got it right this time when you turn your life over to God and all the mistakes that you have made in
Hmm.
life and you finally got it. When you get that relationship with God, you know, it's like I finally got it right, Lord. I mean, I'm finally with you. I'm listening to you. I'm obeying your word.
Hmm.
I got it right. Of all the mistakes I have made, Lord, I finally got it right. As long as I stay in your presence and follow what you want me to do and have what you want me to do,
Hmm.
you just got to be led.
Right.
yeah. So, what do y'all think about the opposite, the Ray Charleses or whoever, um, turning the gospel into secular?
And that, that one,
Yeah, that's an obvious
yeah,
struggle. Because it's one thing
yeah,
to glory God in all forms. It's just another thing to take something meant to glorify God and glorify the world.
Right.
So, or somebody else.
I just saying, that's why I'm saying when you do that, we just taking back what the devil stole. So,
Right. Right.
Right. Music.
I don't know
What's up,
yet.
Elo?
Elo, what's happening? What's happening, Captain?
Music is changing.
You are the captain. Can make it happen.
so
Yes.
I mean, that's just my take on it. Because I mean, it's a lot that we done, and we actually made an album. I mean, it's just local, nothing that went big. Just just around town stuff. But people love it, and people was they it touched them in many ways that
Mhm.
you know it was like wow, that makes sense. So again, it's just how you present it. You can just anything I do, I pray about it. I go into meditation and just take it from there.
So, what was the discussion earlier? I mean, what I came in a little bit later was the whole discussion about pop music.
I think
Is that
so.
Yeah.
is that where he started?
Well, he started with the lesson with the C, with the chords, with the C
Oh, okay.
major, with the major chords and stuff like that. And then,
Uh, what is everybody's thoughts on there's a popular there's a side discussion where people believe that it's essential for you to learn music theory,
yeah,
and there's a slight percentage that says otherwise. No, just feel it, go with it.
okay,
I have a friend who strives to be a bass player and
hmm,
decides I don't need to learn music theory. Like, ah, of all instruments, at least me personally, I
right,
would think that you would need to learn music theory when it comes to bass,
um,
considering
right,
how foundational of an instrument
hmm,
it
Yes,
is.
hmm, yes,
absolutely. I would think so.
hmm,
I would think so. I know
Here.
what you're what I know what you mean when they say just go with the flow. Just feel it.
Right.
You can feel it, but only so far because at some point you do need to learn something about music theory.
Oh yeah, anything you do, any instruments that you play.
Yeah.
You know, I've been trying to speak to him for the longest. Just recently, I stopped because I realized I've been speaking to a brick wall. But I realized that I'm trying to tell him that it's basically, this sound, not to sound cliche or anything, but it's basically a big conversation amongst a bunch of musicians, and we're all getting to from point A to point Z. And the only way to really kind of understand how to converse is by learning learning the rules.
hmm,
And
The
he
language.
feels otherwise. And I find it interesting. And again, like he's the minority, but he's not the first person that I've heard that from. Um, if at least myself, at least from my point of view, where like in order for me to conduct any idea, I would have to have some sort of understanding of how the foundation is laid.
hmm,
Um, Victor Wooten came up with a really has uh, a really good argument, where it's not in antithesis, it's not going against it, but it's saying that he's basically saying that um, whenever you teach somebody music, you don't tell them, well, these are the letters of the alphabet, and you have to learn these, and he basically tells me, yeah, you feel it, but like in a the way he approaches his I guess approach for showing somebody how to play music with others is that you're kind of sneaking the understanding of learning how to play how basically theory. So I always found it interesting.
Can I ask y'all exactly what the conversation is about? Because I wasn't able to. I just know y'all talking about theory, which
You
is my
can't
favorite
know.
thing.
You just we can't tell you. Sorry.
I want to know.
I wanna
No, because I was
know.
saying, should you learn music theory
Oh, okay.
or just feel it, basically?
Okay. And who were you referring to, Kasai, when you said I tried to? You was talking to a brick wall and all that. Who
No,
you referring to?
no, it's a good friend of mine. Good friend of
Oh,
mine.
okay, okay, okay.
Nobody here. No one
Oh,
here.
okay. I thought you was talking
No.
about me. I was gonna say, man, I used to teach theory. What you talking about? I know my theory.
He was talking
Taught it for
about you.
13 years.
He was talking about you.
Whatever. But yeah, I definitely, yeah, okay.
Here.
Yeah, theory is important. Like you said, yeah, you said Victor Wooten said, yeah, you gotta feel it, but just it's like when you say you don't have to know everything, I'm not saying you have to be able to, you have to have a PhD in it, but man, some basic stuff. Man, if I say, hey, man, play a D minor, please, you should know what that is. You should know that's D, F, and A. Like, this, just stuff like that.
But
Play a C. Okay, can you play a C? Like, huh?
but again, these musicians now
I
is
know
about
you. I know what you're about
numbers.
to say because
Yeah,
you're a bass player,
it's numbers.
right?
Not
All they
not just
know is
only
numbers. They
him,
don't even
just
know the letters.
yeah. I mean, but he knows his letters, but it's just a lot of different bass player or guitar players that I know. It's all about numbers now.
Yeah, it's been about that. That's because a lot of, and that's church musicians. I mean, well, I can't say it's limited to that, but a lot of church musicians, they just, numbers, give them the
Yeah.
number. But I'm sure it's professionals that do it too.
Oh yeah, it's
Uh,
professional too. I've seen them too, and I've seen them on stage. They go 3, 4, and
yeah,
6.
go to the four, and two,
Yeah.
5, 1. Which I mean, I get it. I mean, though, I get it, but yeah,
And I'd be like, wait a minute, okay. My brain is going, okay, wait a minute, 2, wait a minute, 1. Just
I
tell
had
me the notes for me.
the last time I was in Guitar Center was like the end of July, and I was there. Actually, I was there with someone else, and I was sitting at the keyboard playing, and one of the workers. It was like the store had just opened up. It had just opened up, literally, not even 5 minutes ago, right? So it wasn't nobody. We were probably the first people to come in there. So it wasn't like they were busy or anything. So a guy comes over, and I think I might have was playing Ribbon in the Sky. I'm not sure. Funny thing, I was sitting at a Williams keyboard because I just wanted to see how it felt. I literally, I said, you know what? I haven't played behind one of these in a long time. Let me just see how it feels again. So I'm playing it, and I guess he thought I was playing something else, and he was like, "Oh man, let me go grab a guitar." So then when he came over, he realized that I wasn't playing what he thought I was playing or whatever, and he was just like, "Well, okay." And then I was like, "Well, I'm just playing a, E flat, whatever." He was like, "Oh, I don't know what that is." I'm
Oh
just,
wow.
I'm just like, and then I was like, okay. He said, I said, well, I said, you play something, and I can let me see if I can follow you. I'm like, what key you in? He was like, well, I don't know. I said, well, can you at least tell me what chord you're playing? Nah, I was just like, it's to me,
Yeah.
I'm just that's where it's like, okay, you got to know something.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like again, you don't have to know everything, but I mean, can you at least you're a guitar player and you can't even tell me what chord you're playing? Come
But,
on.
you
Even if
know,
you gave me the number, if you would have told me what key you're in and the number, I can work with that because I know the
Right.
number system. But it's like he couldn't tell me nothing, and I'm
that's
like,
more popular than you think.
I know that's
Oh
crazy. I
man.
used to I
Yeah.
used to be under the misconception, obviously, that guitars knew their chords. I thought it was like maybe a lot of piano players that didn't know, but I didn't
No.
know it was so many guitarists out there that just play and don't even know. I guess I should have known that because the dude that I follow, he follows me on YouTube as well, Morris Man Smith, and he does guitar tutorials and play alongs on his channel. He got like 39,000 subscribers or whatever. And he talks about that stuff all the time. Like, stop coming to my channel thinking I'm going to teach you chords. He's like, I'm not teaching you how to play the chords. You're supposed to know that already. I'm just giving you the chords. Like sometimes like he'll be playing a song or whatever, and he'll get a comment where they say, "Hey, I can't see your fingers, man." He was like, "Why you need to see my fingers? I'm not here to teach you how to play. I'm just here to give you the chords."
So in other words, he's saying you hear the chords and play the chords.
No, he's just saying that
Just-
he's giving you the chords. Like on the screen, he'll have
Right.
the chords that he's
Oh,
playing.
okay.
He'll tell you what the chord. He's like, "That's all I'm here. I'm just here to just give you the chords. I'm not here to teach you how to play
Gotcha.
your instrument." He's like,
Hey,
if you don't,
put your
he's like,
pinky
"Yo,
finger
man, I
on my-
can't see your fingers, Morris, man. I can't see your fingers." He's like, "Why you need to see my fingers?" It's like if you don't know, you need to go back and learn. See, he's a little bit more rough than me. With me, I actually break my chords down in my tutorials. He don't. He like, look,
Oh,
he
okay.
just, but he'll tell you what the chord is on the screen. It'll say if he's playing a G minor seven, it'll say on the screen G minor seven, and as he switches chords, he puts the name of the chord on there. You can't necessarily see where his hand is on the neck all the time, but and I'm like, that works for me. I'm like, oh, okay, I can take his chords, and I know how to translate. But I think that's just interesting that there's a lot of good people that just don't know
Yeah,
basic stuff.
just
I'm
the
like, oh, I'm not
basics.
saying you
Yeah,
need to be able to sit down and
but you need to know the basics.
yeah, it's like
Yes.
just know it's like being able to read but don't know the alphabet.
Mhm.
That's some art.
It's like it's like hold up, it's like how can you read but don't know the alphabet? It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. So yeah. Anybody else got some other pet peeves?
No.
You know what's
Oh,
interesting?
I got a bunch of pet peeves, but I ain't gonna get onto it because I was cussing and fussing all day today. But
Uh-oh.
No, no, no. We
Uh-oh.
want to hear D. We want to hear D.
no, cause
After the broadcast. After the broadcast.
yeah, that goes after the broadcast.
Well, what is this dealing with musicians again? D?
After the broadcast,
No, I'm just saying I'm just saying is it musicians, or is it this other stuff?
after the broadcast.
Okay, so it's other stuff. Okay. All right. Well, I think, like I said, I don't think any other questions came in from the chat. So, um, for those of you that may have joined because you saw the stream and it said any questions, this is your last chance. If you have any questions, music theory related, piano related, you can throw it in real quick if you have a question. But or if you tuned in because it said that we was going to talk about the C major chords and stuff like that, chords in the C scale. We actually did that. Okay, so if you're tuning in, you missed it, but relax. It's all good because all you have to do is just go to the beginning of the stream. I did give a lesson on chords in the key of C. Today we looked at C sus4, C sus2. We looked at the major 7 and we looked at the minor 7, and then we reviewed the C major and C minor chords. So next week we'll look into diminished chords, fully diminished, half diminished, and dominant chords next week. Okay, so if you came here looking for that, we did that. So don't despair. We did it. All you have to do is just go back to the beginning. Join us Saturday. We'll be live again on the stream. Saturday is going to be pop music. We're doing pop music, so we're recreating our favorite pop songs, and again, that's whatever pop means to you. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we actually had a small discussion about that just earlier, but whatever pop music means to you. So, Whitney Houston for some of you, Prince for some of you, Michael Jackson for some of you, Boyz II Men for me, and just, just whoever, Aaliyah, whoever. So if you want to participate in that, you can, send in your now again, let me say this again, we don't play the original songs, okay? So we need you to recreate the songs or get with someone and y'all can work together. We don't play the original version of songs because that's a no. That
Nope.
gets people's channels
Shut down.
disappeared on YouTube, bye. So but we do covers, okay? We're covering the songs, so you have to do your own version. So if you want to participate in that, you can have your if you want to do it live, if you want to perform live, like you want to come on here and you want to do it live, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram at House of Jazz. Hit me up on the DM. I'll make that happen, and you can come on live. Or if you produce it and you just want me to play the MP3, email it to me, okay? houseofjazz@yahoo.com. I appreciate
.org.
no. Who said .org? Is that what she said? Is that what you said, Kim?
Yes.
Oh.
She said, yeah.
Oh, okay. You're not too late, Elo. What you talking about? Too late? Too late for what, man? You're not too late. What's up? But yeah, if you want to turn in your music, not .org is House of Jazz at yahoo.com, and we'll be here. So join us Saturday. We should have some good music. Should be a fun night. I actually have an email that already came in with one song. I was like, oh, dang. So Rocky already submitted his song like yesterday. I was like, oh, okay. I see you, sir. So y'all check that out. And then next week, like I said, next Wednesday, we'll be back, and we'll look at half diminished, fully diminished, and dominant chords in the key of C. Any final words before we sign off? Again, check out Mitch's project. His music project is out under Mitch Soul, no underscore. Just type in Mitch Soul, and then the project is called In Your Presence.
Buy my record.
Yeah, you can buy the record too. Oh, what's going on, Darius? Yeah, Darius, man, you're a little late to the party, but it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yes, I got one thing to say.
Okay, what you got to say?
Remember, boys want to know.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, y'all. Like I said, anyway.
You got it, D.
Yeah, it's all good. Honest, hey, Darius, I know you working, man. You on tour and everything. You was just down the street a couple weeks ago down in DC, man. I know you working. It's all good, man. It's all good. But like I said, if you came to hear the information about the C major stuff, like the chords in C or whatever, we already did it. So you can always, check out the beginning of the stream. And yeah, so next week, like I said, we'll do dominant chords, and I already said that 5 times. So we're gonna go ahead and get off. Oh, I know it was saying. I was saying check out Mitch stuff. That's what I was saying. Check out Mitch project In Your Presence. He said it will be on Pandora soon. You said, right?
Yes.
Okay, so right now you can see it on pretty much everywhere else. Oh, Easy by the Commodores. Yeah, you know what? Easy is pretty easy. Darius. That's tight, man. Yeah, I have you oh, so did you just start learning that song today, Darius? The Easy song, or have you been working on it already? Because I was getting ready to ask if you already uploaded a video, because I haven't seen. If you did, I didn't see a video of you playing it. I know usually when you're learning a song, you upload it on your Instagram. I'm learning how to play. Oh, okay. Oh, by ear. Oh, okay. Oh, so you're just trying to cut the middleman out, huh? Be like, you don't need us no more, right? You don't need us no more. You just gonna learn how to play by ear now. It's all good. It's important. It's important. That's what's up, man. Well, definitely, man. Whenever you want to come on and show us your skills, you are always welcome. You hopefully you know that already. So definitely, sir. Appreciate you coming through, man. And definitely, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You have, like, I've definitely watched your progress over the last year and a half, man. You definitely doing your thing. You're a true example of, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely. All right, y'all. So we out of here. So join us again Saturday, sometime between 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Pop Music Night. But for now, good evening. Peace.